What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, I'm giving you guys my #1 tip to make bass fishing easy during the fall. Fall bass fishing is one of my favorite times to be out on the water. You know, when fall fishing gets going, these bass are aggressive. They are actively feeding on bait fish, and you could have some of the best fishing of the entire season all the way through the fall. These fish are feeding up, they're aggressive, they're active, and it is so much fun. But how do you make your bait stand out when there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of real bait fish swimming around? You guys know how much we love throwing swim baits, right? You know, we throw little guppy heads, we throw bigger underspins, the Matt Allen head, all the way up to mag drafts and S-wavers and bigger Huddleston swim baits. But there's something to be said, especially fishing in the fall when these fish are so keyed into little bait fish, adding a little blade, adding some flash and some vibration to your swim bait. Here we have the little guppy head. Here we have our little mini underspin, but you can see this bait right here is going to have a lot more drawing power than the typical flashless, bladeless, more natural swim bait. So that is my number one tip. And I have some different tricks for you guys, some different baits I want to recommend. But adding some flash and adding some vibration to your bait, it doesn't necessarily have to be a swim bait, we're going to talk about a couple different baits, means all the difference in the world when these fish are actively feeding on bait fish. When they're feeding on real bait fish, and you got 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 little silver sides or threadfin shad in a bait ball, and you're fishing around those fish, how do you make that bass turn off of those real fish and eat your fake one, your artificial one, right? Adding that blade, adding that flash and vibration helps those fish kind of key in on that bait that's a little bit different. So that is my #1 tip. You know, I was talking to my kids and wife the other day about fishing. It's actually my wife, and she's like, you know, why are you throwing all these baits with blades? You know, typically, if it's clear water, I'm throwing an A-rig without any blades on it. But as you can see, I got this guy rigged up right here. It's all about mimicking a school of bait fish. So if you're a guy that likes to throw an A-rig per se, if you're a guy that likes to throw the Alabama rig, again, this is one of the best baits that mimics an entire school of bait fish. This time of the year, make sure you're throwing one with some blades. Okay, something that just adds a little bit more vibration, a little bit more flash, can mean it can turn a good day into an epic day. Okay, so adding that flash, adding that vibration, it means everything this time of the year. Like I said, especially when those fish are keying in on bait balls, right? So whether you're throwing a little tiny 1/8 ounce guppy head and a little 2.8 Kitech or a little X-Zone swammer, this guy's actually the Armor Shad by Demiki. It doesn't matter which little swim bait you're throwing. If you're tying one onto your spinning rod or your bait caster, your bait finesse setup, rig this little guy. Rig some flash. You know, you guys, even up in the, I wouldn't even say up in a general area, if you guys are fishing lakes that have ultra clear water, you know, you can even get away with the flash. I can't tell you how many good days I've had up in northern Michigan fishing, you know, in lakes that have 20 to 40 foot of visibility, and just throwing a bait with a little bit of flash gets those fish to commit, even though it's super clear and those fish can be finicky. Adding that flash of vibration makes a huge difference. So if you're a guy that's typically, you know, a light line guy, maybe you're a 6-pound to like a little guppy head, like I said, throwing a little finesse swim bait, try throwing finesse underspin. And then if you're a guy like me that's fishing, you know, here on Chickamauga, fishing around big fish, I'm throwing an even bigger underspin. Whether it's a flashy swimmer, it's a weedless swim bait, I'm throwing around grass lines, or I'm throwing around lily pads or tule lines, I'm still throwing something with some flash and some vibration, because it truly makes all the difference in the world. Now, it does depend on bait size, right? I'm not gonna go throw a full-size tactical underspin when all the bait fish I'm seeing are that 2.5 inch size. I'll throw the little mini underspin. So you still wanna match the hatch, but you definitely wanna add some flash, okay? Now, it's not just swim baits. We're gonna talk about a couple other baits that really shine this time of the year. It's all about that flash. One other tip I wanna talk about, if you find yourself, hey, I'm a seasoned underspin fisherman. I throw underspin 9 times out of 10. Little tip for you guys. This is the guppy head. You can see how good that looks on the Largo shad. That is an awesome little finesse presentation. But look at this guy with some flash, okay? Looks so good. But that tip I was gonna talk about, this applies to any of these bladed baits we're talking about, and A-rigs and such. If you have a little bit of murky water, for whatever reason, this time of the year, early spring, throwing a blade that is gold colored instead of silver, I think they just see it better. You know, so there's times if I'm fishing in murky water or stained water, I will actually take the blades off of my A-rig, the silver blades, and I will change them out. I will switch them up to gold blades, okay? Kind of the same thought process. If you guys are spinnerbait fishermen, right? We're always playing with baits with different blades. Some blades are chartreuse or orange or white or different sizes, different vibrations, same type of thing. You know, it's not as easy to change out all the blades on an A-rig, but it definitely has a time and a place when it works a lot better. But if you're a guy that loves throwing A-rigs and you're typically throwing a bladeless rig, definitely try throwing a bladed rig. Makes all the difference in the world, especially if you're fishing current or you're fishing a little bit stained or dirty water. Having that extra flash really helps. Okay, so I talked about adding blades, talked about changing blade colors. A couple other baits that really work well this time of the year: the spy bait. I'm gonna put the spy bait, and this is a little spark shad by Megabass. This is the Okashira screwhead by Megabass as well. But you can see, you know, they have the Okashira head and they have the screwhead where it has this off-center blade on it, propeller, that spins as you're fishing it. And guys up north, smallmouth fishermen, you guys have been fishing this head for a long time. You guys know the power of it. But this is actually, one blade is bigger than the other. So it kind of swims off center, if that makes sense. It adds that body roll to it. But again, it has that flash, it has that vibration. You know, you can throw a spark shad on a little guppy head and you're going to get bites. But you have a lot more drawing power and a lot more presentation or profile in the water, flash and vibration, with that blade spinning and adding a little bit of rock to your bait. So that little bait right there, and then the spy bait. You guys know how well a spy bait works, especially on clear pressured waters. It kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about. You know, you can take a spy bait on 5 or 6 pound fluorocarbon in ultra clear water and catch big fish on it, right? Even though it's a solid colored bait, even though there's a lot of metal, there's a lot of things going on, having that flash, having that vibration is what's really helping you get those more bites. So same type of thing, adding that flash, those blades to your swim baits, to your other baits, we're gonna talk about here in just a second, really helps. But if you haven't tried a spy bait, or you've kind of they're collecting dust in your tackle box, this time of the year is the time of the year to pull them out and fish them, because there are days when they will eat this guy way better than they will eat this guy, okay? So the spy bait, and then one other bait that works really well this time of the year, and this applies to the shallow fish, it applies to the deep fish, no matter what, when those fish are on bait, a tailspin. These guys right here, whether it's the jackal, the Daracoop, or the Damiki, the axe blade, having that flash, having that vibration helps get more bites when those fish are around bait. It just does. Now, these baits allow you to either hop on bottom. When you hop it up, that tailspin spins, right? It's kind of the name, spins, it's on its way down. Again, it's slowing that fall, but it's getting that fish's attention away from the real school and getting those fish to key in on your bait. But these baits can be fished 30, 40, 50 feet of water. They can be fished in open water for those fish that are out there, the pelagic fish out there on the big bait balls. Throwing a tailspin this time of the year can work extremely well. So now that you guys are sensing a pattern, you're understanding that this tip is all about adding flash and vibration, you can do it on some of your other favorite baits as well. A few years ago, VMC came out with their bladed trebles. So if you are a guy that likes to throw blade baits or lipless crankbaits or square bills, take that belly hook off, add that little flash and vibration. It's just gonna add a new feature to your favorite bait, whatever you're throwing, okay? It doesn't necessarily mess with the fall or mess with the hop. It just adds that extra vibration, gives that little bit farther drawing power, and helps those fish key into your bait. So I will link all these little baits and upgrades down below in the video description. Again, these little hooks are really cool. They're made extremely well. You can see right there, it's just kind of a rubber sheet over the shank of the hook with a swivel and then a little blade on there, so you can add it to your whopper ploppers, right? Taking a belly hook on your whopper plopper and adding a little bit of vibration under it, taking and screwing in, taking owner's CPS, like a centering pin, and screwing a blade in with that screw lock with a blade on it into your Nico rig or your weightless wacky rig. There's all sorts of ways that you can add blades, but this time of the year, when those fish are entirely keyed in on bait fish, adding flash, adding vibration will help make a good day an epic day. So guys, that is my #1 tip. If you guys are out there fishing and you throw one of, or if not all these techniques, and you haven't tried throwing a little bit of flash or adding blades to your techniques, this stuff really works, especially now when those fish are so keyed in on the bait fish. But guys, as always, we appreciate the support. Thank you for watching. If you learned something from this video, or you're a guy that loves throwing an underspin or throwing a spy bait or plays around with tinkering with baits, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, guys, and we will see you guys on the next video.